to know where this is. It's only the most famous mountain in the country. It's Pikes Peak, part of the Rocky Mountain Range, just a little bit west of Pueblo, Colorado. Hi, race fans. I'm Ken Brew, and the big boys of the U.S. Hot Rod Association's Monster Truck Racing did their thing for thousands of fans at the Colorado State Fairgrounds in Pueblo. And right now, we're going to bring you some more of that action right here on this edition of the USHRA's Monster Truck Challenge. Now, think back with me. The last time we were in Pueblo, we told you how difficult it was for the crew trying to adjust their trucks to get the maximum power despite the high altitude. Well, we're back again, and you can expect the same kind of trouble. This time around, the crews have to lean their mixtures again. That is, reduce the amount of fuel in the system to compensate for all the oxygen that just isn't in the air at this altitude. Now, last time we were here, Lyle Hancock drove Gravedigger past everybody for the title. Can he do it again? Let's find out. Here are the first-round pairings. Equalizer has a first-round bye after posting the fastest qualifying time of 4.19 seconds. There were two other sub-5-second qualifiers, Carolina Crusher and Gravedigger. Lyle Hancock is behind the wheel of Gravedigger again. Dennis Anderson suffered his second injury of the season in the U.S. Hot Rod Association action in Louisville, Kentucky. He's going to face Rob Morris in Four-Wheel Crazy in the first round. Next up, we've got Carolina Crusher with Gary Wiggins subbing for his pal Gary Porter against Rob Grossman and King Crunch. Then Joe Johnson brings American Made to the line to take on Tough Enough and Joey Pittman. Now, American Made didn't sound right during qualifying. The engine was running a little rough. We'll see if he's got things squared away as we go to Joe Lowe for all the first-round play-by-play.
Thanks, Ken. A sellout crowd here in Pueblo, Colorado as the Gravedigger comes up. The Gravedigger with Lyle Hancock aboard, and everybody's asking him, where's Dennis?
Apparently overshot the set of cars that he was going for. He was trailing behind one of the other monster trucks and needed to make up some time. When he come down, basically, he had slid sideways, smashed into the wall there. He had gone to a restaurant to eat some dinner after the race was over that night, and he went to take a drink or something, and he coughed real hard. While in doing so, he had already had injured some of the ribs, and when he coughed so hard, it actually separated some of the rib cage, so he's going to be out for a little while.
So Lyle Hancock back driving Digger while Dennis is out. He goes against Rob Morris in Four-Wheel Crazy. Now, Rob is out of Burleson, Texas, and you may not be too familiar with him, but he's no newcomer to our sport.
I did this part-time for 2.5 years to promote a four-wheel drive shop that I used to own, and then I started full-time with the Camel Series 2 years ago, and this is my, I guess you could say I've been doing it 5 years total.
Now, tell us a little bit about Four-Wheel Crazy.
Well, it's relatively a combination of the late technology and the old-style leaf spring truck. It's light, it's fast, it works fairly well for what it is. We're undergoing some changes, but for right now, we're going to stick with the plan.
And that plan is to try to knock out the most feared monster truck in the world today, the Gravedigger. But this is not going to be the day for Rob Morris as the Gravedigger picks up the win. Lyle Hancock up in the Gravedigger over the first set of cars, over the second, completely clears them, and the Digger gets a win in race number 1. A great run for Lyle Hancock. He has certainly got this truck tuned in, dialed in, and ready to rock and roll. He moves on to round number 2 of Monster Truck Challenge. Lyle says it was no cakewalk.
Well, it wasn't no easy one, I can tell you that. I got my heart pumping out there pretty good. The truck took a little bad bounce there right in the middle of the set. And, you know, I don't think it's going through my mind, so I don't want to go out this early in the round, you know, so I had to kind of stay with it. I hit that second set of cars. The front end was square, but the back end was. And, of course, I got twisted up going over this last set of cars, but it came out all right.
The U.S. Hot Rod Association's Monster Truck Challenge. Our next race between Gary Wiggins and the Carolina Crusher out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, and King Crunch. King Crunch being driven by Rob Grossman, Rob out of Spring, Texas. They're on the starting line. Carolina Crusher, King Crunch, both Chevys. They're set to go. Carolina Crusher off the line. He has some handling problems. And Carolina Crusher first off the starting line, but U.S. Hot Rod Association rules state that you must launch over the cars with all 4 tires. and Gary Wiggins does not do that here. He has two way off to the side, and Gary Wiggins with the Carolina Crusher is disqualified.
Well, it was basically my fault. We had a problem with the tires spinning on the rims, and we were hoping we could get by this time with like taking out the hold easier, which really what I done is I got on the first set of cars and got a little squirrely, get lined up for the second set, and I was disqualified. I knew I was time I done it. It's nobody's fault but my own.
Well, the rules state that both front tires of the truck have to hit the set of cars. He came off the first set okay, but the second set, he only hit them with the one tire. He did not hit them with the both front tires.
Now, what does that do to the Crusher in this meet?
What that does, that takes him out and allows King Crunch to be the winner. However, Carolina Crusher will return a little bit later.
Now, what Jeff Morgan means is that the fans here in Pueblo will be treated to a consolation round later on in this program. Next up, American-made Joe Johnson out of Tucson, Arizona. He goes up against Tough Enough, Joey Pittman. He's taken over the driving duties for Pablo Cruz, Tough Enough's truck owner.
Ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to be in some sort of a competitive motorsports. I've drove some dirt track cars, and I would like to get more and more into the monster trucking and any type of automotive sports. I've just always loved it and I always will.
A great competitor as he works his way up through the ranks. And Tough Enough does not appear to have any problem at all as American-made just sits on the starting line. Your winner, Tough Enough, and an easy win for Joey Pittman.
Yeah, it's an easy run, but I kind of hate to see guys have problems like that when we really come here to race, and it's a bad misfortune for that. But other than that, I'll take it any way I can get it.
Tough Enough with the win. American-made still sitting on the starting line with some severe engine problems. And that's it for round number one.
Well, Joe Johnson hadn't solved his engine trouble, so he didn't leave the line against Tough Enough. Gary Wiggins wishes he had left the line a little differently so he could get a better shot at that second set of cars. You heard U.S. Hot Rod Association official Jeff Morgan say that Carolina Crusher would be back later. That's because there'll be a consolation round right before the championship. We'll have that later in the program. And in the final heat of the first round, Gravedigger beat Four Wheel Crazy. Lyle Hancock won a chance to take on the fast qualifier. We'll have all that coming up in just a moment when Monster Truck Challenge returns. Oh, the crowd loves it in Pueblo. See, Colorado has some of the world's best monster truck fans, and they're watching some of the world's best monster trucks in this U.S. Hot Rod Association action. Now, as we make our way to the finals, you're going to hear more and more about the fuel mixture on these giant vehicles. See, these trucks do most of their racing a lot closer to sea level. They're set up to burn in air that has a lot more oxygen than the air they're finding here at Pueblo. See, Pueblo is just under 5,000 feet above sea level. So the big question in these races is, who has the mixture problem solved? We learned a lot more about that in round two as David Morris takes off the warm-ups and gets in the game. As you recall, Equalizer had a first-round bye after turning in the fastest qualifying time. Gravedigger will be in the other lane. In the other half of our semifinal bracket has Joey Pittman and Tough Enough against Rob Grossman and King Crunch. Speaking of kings, here's the king of monster truck play-by-play, Joe Lowe.
Ken, they're coming up to the starting line in Pueblo. The Gravedigger. Lyle Hancock handling the driving duties while Dennis Anderson is recuperating. And David Morris out of Springfield, Tennessee with the hottest truck on the circuit, the Equalizer. Green light, and there they go. Gravedigger with a hole shot. Equalizer powered back. He comes from behind. And what a great run. Both drivers pedal to the metal. Both drivers with a superb run. But David Morris digs down deep, has things tuned in, and the Equalizer is over the finish line first. Again, the Equalizer, a picture-perfect run over the first set of cars. Then mashes it down, finds the horsepower. And David Morris with the win, but not an easy one.
I knew that was going to be a tough race, and it was. I don't know how close it was, but it looked like we was real close at the end of the course there. But we come out on top, and I guess that's all that counts. Gary Cook, the owner of the truck, he made a few adjustments on the motor, and it seemed like it had a lot of power on that run.
Wow, you had the Equalizer out of the hole, but she came from behind to beat you. What happened?
Well, that makes a difference in the motor and the cubic inch. That's where them big cubic inch motors will make tracks on you in a long course. They'll catch you in the end. We run quite a bit smaller motor. It's only 432 cubic inch. We got to drive it pretty hard to stay out front. I had him over the first set of cars, and he outpowered me going to the second set. I mean, it was a pretty good race. I mean, I looked out the side window going over the second set of cars. He was right next to me. I didn't even know who won.
We know that Equalizer's going to the finals, but who is he going to face? It could be this truck, Tough Enough.
Tough Enough's running real good. We've got a new fuel pump on it. We're getting our fuel mixture adjustment right, but we're getting better each round, and going to make another adjustment here in a minute, and then we're going to be back out there again for second round. We're changing the air mixture, the air fuel mixture. Up here in Colorado, the altitude's different than where we're used to running down in Phoenix, so we have to tinker with it a little bit when we get up here. Once we get that air and fuel mixture right, she'll run real good.
Joey Pittman and Tough Enough facing King Crunch. Rob Grossman out of Spring, Texas. Green light, there they go. King Crunch with a hole shot. Tough Enough running strong. And he gets the win. Now that's very, very unusual to see a truck with a hole shot not win the race. But again, a long course. You've got the altitude problem. And Tough Enough finding a lot of horsepower right here as he powers through for the win. Tough Enough will face the Equalizer in our final. A great run for Joey Pittman.
Yeah, he had lane choice. Unfortunately, I preferred the left lane. That right lane is a little rough coming off that first set of cars, and he took me on it, and I thought I might be able to pull it out on that second set, but I just didn't give it enough gas.
Yeah, we had a good run that last run. I really got in good. We got her pretty much adjusted out right now, and we're going to be going for #1 tonight. Hopefully we can do it.
David Morris showed how he got to be the hot truck in the U.S. Hot Rod Association competition this season. Lyle Hancock reacted to the light perfectly, had a great hole shot. But Morris refused to give up. Got a ton of horsepower from Equalizer and won a great race with a great come-from-behind effort. And you got to know that Joey Pittman's loving it. He got tough enough in the championship race with a chance to prove he's tough enough to take the title away from Equalizer. Listen, before we bring you the race for the championship, we're going to have the consolation round from Pueblo. Well, before we do that, we're going to pause for a word from our sponsors. Monster Truck Challenge continues here on ESPN in just a moment. Welcome back to the U.S. Hot Rod Association's Monster Truck Challenge. I'm Ken Brew. We're headed back to Pueblo to bring you some unusual action from the Colorado State Fairgrounds. Kind of a monster extra. We always give you your money's worth here on Monster Truck Challenge, and the fans got their money's worth at the USHRA's consolation round, giving the losers a chance to show their stuff one more time before the championship race. Here to fill you all in on the consolation bracket is Joe Lowe.
Thank you very much, Ken, and what a matchup. Rob Grossman, who was defeated by Tough Enough, and Four-Wheel Crazy will go against Gary Wiggins and the Carolina Crusher. He had handling problems. Watch for him to correct that. On the line, Carolina Crusher, Four-Wheel Crazy, the green light, there they go. And the Carolina Crusher gets a hole shot. And the win, he keeps it over the cars, no problem whatsoever in handling. The win goes to Carolina Crusher. Gary Wiggins certainly has this track figured out this time. Whatever handling problems he had before, they're just not even showing up this time. Over the cars, a great run and a win in consolation round for the Carolina Crusher. And Crusher earns the right to face the Gravedigger for our consolation prize here in Pueblo, Colorado. The U.S. Hot Rod Association bringing you the best of the best on Monster Truck Challenge. Carolina Crusher, Gary Wiggins aboard, going against Lyle Hancock and the Gravedigger. Both from North Carolina, way out west to show what they can do. Looking for that green light. Thumbs up, showtime! And Gravedigger with an incredible hole shot. It's almost like he could see the electricity run up the core to the lights. The win to Lyle Hancock and the Gravedigger. And Lyle Hancock drives the Gravedigger to the fastest time of the night, 4.13 seconds.
Well, I had to go all out. I knew I was running against him last night. He gave me a tough run, and I wasn't going to lose twice in the same night, so I had to give it everything I got. Racing Equalizer, I didn't have the good lane and a little smaller cubic inch motor, but I got the fans back here crazy going. Now, when they want to sign some autographs, I'm going to have to get going.
All right, well, go ahead.
Thanks. All right, bye-bye.
Man, I'll tell you, Lyle Hancock just loves to race. He goes out in the consolation bracket. Instead of taking it easy on his truck, instead of saying, hey, I don't have anything to win, I got everything to lose, puts his foot on the floor and turns in the fastest time of the night. That is a true professional. We're going to break out here just for a second, but when we come back, the run to the winner's circle in Pueblo, Colorado, when Monster Truck Challenge continues in just a moment. Only 2 monsters are left in Pueblo. Joey Pittman, the driver of Tough Enough, has been talking a lot about his fuel mixture and trying to get it set right for the altitude in Pueblo. In the finals against Equalizer, he's got something else to worry about. David Morris has lane choice, and he wants the same lane Pittman's been running in all night long. So Tough Enough has to cover some unknown territory between the start and finish lines. And when he was in the lane he's used to, Tough Enough beat an American-made truck that wasn't feeling well, and then drove past King Crunch. Equalizer used the same lane to squeak past Gravedigger after a first-round bye. So it's Equalizer, and it's Tough Enough, and it's Joe Lowe with the call of the championship race in Pueblo.
We're down to 2 in Pueblo. Tough Enough and Equalizer. One's going to go home the winner. Tough Enough, piloted by Joey Pittman, taking over the driving duties for Pablo Cruz. And how do you prepare for a run against Equalizer?
We've done about all we're going to do adjusting-wise. Just cooling her off a little bit and just mainly getting ready for it mentally.
Any special strategy you're going to use?
Well, I'm not in the lane I've been in all night now. I've been stuck in the bad lane because the guy I'm racing had Equalizer has lane choice. So it's going to be a little different for me running in another lane that I'm not familiar with tonight. But I'm just trying to ignore that. I'm just going to hammer it.
And the hottest running truck on the U.S. Hot Rod Association Tour right now, David Morris in the Equalizer. David out of Springfield, Tennessee. And what's David's strategy going into this championship race?
I'm just going to try to run my race and hope to take the win. I believe we're pretty close on the fuel right now. We wasn't at first, but now I think it's coming around. I hope we can take another win. If we can, then we'll be the winner of the whole deal.
As David says, let's see who's going to win the whole deal. Tough Enough or Equalizer? Thumbs up, green light. Oh boy, Tough Enough has problems bouncing around after the first set of cars, and Equalizer sails on to an easy victory. David Morris and the Equalizer winning it all in front of a sellout crowd in Pueblo, Colorado. Off the line, this guy is one heck of a driver. That's why he's got the hottest truck on the U.S. Hot Rod Association Tour. The Equalizer, your winner in Pueblo, Colorado. David Morris has got to be one happy camper. Off the line, they were evenly matched. The Equalizer with a bit of a hole shot, but right here, Tough Enough bobbles around, bounces around, loses power, and the Equalizer goes on to victory. David Morris is standing by in the winner's circle with our own Jim Clark.
We was really doing good here tonight. The truck was running good. Everything seemed to work just perfect. We took that win.
From our view of it, you had him all the way.
Yeah, I got hold of the first set of cars, and I thought I had him. So I tried to make sure I just got good and straight for the second set, so I wouldn't mess up.
The last show, we didn't have the engine tuned right for this altitude, and we made some changes today, and I believe they paid off. Looked like it was running pretty decent tonight.
What were some of the changes that you did make?
Well, with this high altitude, you have to lean the fuel mixture down. You don't have as much oxygen in the air at a higher altitude. So we didn't know how much to cut it down, so we just kept cutting it down. It just kept running better.
You got a smile ear to ear. It looks like you're real happy about the win.
Hey, you like to win them. That's what you're here for, to win, not like to win.
Looks like you had some problems there on the final run.
Yeah, I told you that lane on the right side was going to give me a rough bounce off the cars, but I got back in it the best I could, getting her straight for the second set because I didn't want to miss the second set, but we drove it out the best we could tonight. We're going to get us a better suspension, and then we won't have these problems. Won't matter how rough the course is.
Pablo Cruz came up a little short here in Pueblo today.
Yeah, it's our 4th year here. I thought we did pretty good, second place. Our new truck we're working on will hopefully be a little more competitive.
Tell us about the new truck.
Well, we're going with a 4-link with the Custer shocks like everybody else has been running. It seems to be the best suspension. It'll be a lot like Gravedigger and Carolina Crusher. A lot of the newer trucks, the new Bigfoots and stuff.
And that's just the way these monster truck people are. always trying to find a better suspension, a better way to go over the cars, a better way to win, invent a better mousetrap, if you will. And one thing you can be sure of, you'll see the best here on the USHRA Monster Truck Challenge.
I'll tell you this, David Morris's trophy collection's getting so big, the mantle in his house is going to fall down from all those trophies. He's consistently outlasting the competition this season in U.S. Hot Rod Association racing. Joe Lowe likes to call him Smiling Dave. I'd smile all the time, too, if I was having as much fun as David Morris. And let's tip our hats to Joey Pittman, too. Tough Enough ran some great races in Pueblo. We'll have some final thoughts on Monster Truck Challenge after these messages. As exciting as this has been, it's going to be tough to say goodbye to Pueblo and the Colorado State Fairgrounds. That track provided some great racing. The Consolation bracket surprised everyone, featuring the fastest time of the night, 4.13 seconds by Lyle Hancock and Gravedigger. There were few surprises in the championship round. Equalizer grabbed lane choice for the evening with the fastest qualifying time, then drove straight into the winner's circle without even looking back. Oh, let's look back for a second here. Some highlights with our pal Joe Lowe.
Ken, we have seen some great racing today and also some handling problems. Again, the altitude has taken its toll. Here, Gary Wiggins and the Carolina Crusher got disqualified in round number 1. He had handling problems, and that lane caused fits for people all night long. Joey Pittman and Tough Enough, he was doing a lot of bobbling around, and poor American Made, all he could do during that run was just sit there on the starting line. He never could get that fuel mixture figured out. This run between the Gravedigger and the Equalizer was incredible, evenly matched, and then the Equalizer reaching down, finding the extra horsepower, edged out Gravedigger as he goes on to the championship run. Tough Enough got things figured out real well. He took out King Crunch, so he moved on to the final. And then it was Equalizer and Tough Enough, side by side. Equalizer in the good lane. At least that's what they called it. Tough Enough had a lot of problems bouncing around, and the Equalizer got an easy win.
Thanks, Joe. Great work as always. And thank you, Monster Truck Racing fans, for tuning us in. Check your local listings for the next episode of the U.S. Hot Rod Association's Monster Truck Challenge, right here on ESPN. We'll see you then. So long, everybody.